Coming up on Cowboys Special Edition, we'll take a look at the most memorable games that the Cowboys have played on Thanksgiving Day.
I would have said something to Buddy, but he wouldn't stand on the field long enough.
We'll also look back at some of the legendary singers who have performed at halftime to help kick off the Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign. The halftime show has become a staple for Thanksgiving Day. We'll go behind the scenes to unveil the secrets that make the show a success. And we'll even hear from this year's star of the show, country music singer Thomas Rhett. All that and more coming up on Cowboys Special Edition, brought to you by AT&T. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott was a hit during this year's visit by the team to the Salvation Army in Dallas. The annual visit is a special time for the players as they spent one of their off days with folks who are less fortunate.
Real life interaction. I mean, just the support that they show right there. I mean, just the words that, hey, we're going down, if you know, we're going with you, no matter we're going up, we're going down. Just to see that passion, how much they love the Cowboys, and just to be here and share a little bit of my time with them and bring them a Thanksgiving. It's important.
As you might expect, it's a visit that also gets everyone in the mood to kick off the holiday season.
I want to thank the Jones family, because without their support, this would not be a tradition for the Salvation Army, and it's one of those things that we look forward to every single year.
Charlotte Jones Anderson, Cowboys Vice President and Chief Brand Officer, joined the players, their family members, plus coaches' wives and the Cowboys cheerleaders to serve a Thanksgiving Day meal.
Well, happy early Thanksgiving from all of the Dallas Cowboys, and we are so honored to be here with all of you today. We are so grateful to the Salvation Army and all that they do to help so many in need, and thank you for allowing us to be with you today.
The Cowboys' relationship with the Salvation Army led to the Red Kettle kickoff campaign that is featured during the halftime of the Thanksgiving Day game. For those clients who were at the Salvation Army, it's a day they won't soon forget. After all, there is nothing better than to be waited on by a team of professional football players.
I've been a Cowboys fan since I was, 9 or 10. So for us to get a good quarterback and come through and win, and he does well his first season, right? And we almost do something. It's very exciting.
It's a dream come true, yeah. Yes. And then Riley got on my lap right here. I was like, oh, I didn't know what to do with him.
The most fun is to see the reaction of the clients who are here, who, obviously when you come to the Salvation Army, this is a humble place to be, but to know that they're important enough that the Dallas Cowboys have shown up today to feed them, to serve them a meal, and to raise their spirits, it's really fun. And there's always a buzz that will carry on for several days.
The Cowboys Rookie Club traveled to the Salvation Army location in Fort Worth. Among those on hand at that location was wide receiver Ryan Switzer.
There's a lot of smiles, so I think they're taking us well. I think they're enjoying the food, they're enjoying the company, so it's nice. It's a good thing to give back. It's a good thing to fellowship with the people that are in Dallas, the people who are less fortunate than we are, and it's been a great time so far.
I love Thanksgiving, and it's a time to be grateful, and we jump right into Christmas season, and like we said, sometimes it can get a little crazy, and with practicing and halftime and presents and things like that, sometimes we lose what it's really about. So to be here and just to stay grounded and to be blessed by these people that we want to be a blessing to. So it's really great.
The Salvation Army is an organization that impacts people around the world. It's an evangelical part of the Universal Christian Church, spreading a message based on the Bible.
When you come into the Cowboys, you understand this organization really works hard to give their players an opportunity to partner with them and give back and take advantage of that platform. And today, really, there's no better example than what we're experiencing right now.
It's always great when we get a chance to interact with people that are fans or that are around, because usually you only see us on the field and you only learn about us as players and not as humans. So when we're out here meeting with people and doing things like this, you get a chance to see us. And personally, this means a lot to me to be able to feed people that are in need, because that's really my cause with my foundation.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. The Salvation Army, doing the most good. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world. This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big.
The Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving Day game has been a holiday tradition for a long, long time. The Cowboys have hosted this holiday game since 1966, when then General Manager Tex Schramm convinced the league to move that week's game. At first, there were concerns about attendance, but when the Cotton Bowl was filled with 80,000 fans for that first game, those concerns soon vanished. Dallas would join the Detroit Lions, who had been playing on Thanksgiving Day since 1934. These days, football games have taken over Thanksgiving Day, with the NFL now scheduling 3 on the holiday. That's been the case for the last 11 years. Unlike Dallas and Detroit, the primetime game does not have a permanent site. Thanksgiving Day games have produced many memorable moments. In 1974, Clint Longley became known as the Mad Bomber when he replaced an injured Roger Staubach. He threw a dramatic 50-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Drew Pearson with 28 seconds left in the game. Dallas beat their division rival Washington Redskins that day 24-23. Longley would end up starting only 2 games in his brief NFL career. 1989 was the year of the famous Bounty Bowl game. That's when Philadelphia head coach Buddy Ryan placed a bounty on Dallas kicker Luis Zendejas. The reward, $200 for anyone who could knock Zendejas out of the ball game. $500 to knock rookie quarterback Troy Aikman out. Philadelphia won the game 27-0.
I would have said something to Buddy, but he wouldn't stand on the field long enough. He put his big fat rear end into the dressing room.
Frozen in time was the game from 1993 when a steady snowfall started to blanket the stadium and the field. No one will ever forget the blocked field goal. The ball was spinning through the snow, untouched. Defensive tackle Leon Lett came sliding toward the ball, kicking it forward.
Jimmy Jones got the block and no one. Yes!
Oh,
Leon Lett!
Leon Lett! Oh, my goodness gracious.
Dolphins recovered the ball at the 1-yard line with 3 seconds left in the game to seal a 16-14 win. The following year, in 1994, Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett had his day. That year, 2 quarterbacks, Troy Aikman and Rodney Peete, were both hurt. Garrett stepped in and threw for 311 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dallas scored a record 36 points in the second half to beat Green Bay 42-31. It's a record that still stands today.
You can imagine leading up to the game, you get a lot of advice from a lot of different people. And, I think it was probably late in the afternoon on Wednesday. She said, I won't be able to live with myself if I don't say this. When you get in trouble, just throw it up high to Alvin. He always makes those catches over the guy's head. And sure enough, we did. If you remember the game, we threw it up to him a lot in the game, and he cashed in.
In 1998, Dallas was riding a 4-game winning streak, but got outscored 46-36 by Minnesota on a day when rookie wide receiver Randy Moss scored 3 touchdowns and 163 yards receiving. Moss seemed to haunt Dallas that day after the Cowboys passed over him in the draft. In 1999, former Cowboys head coach Jimmy Johnson returned to Texas Stadium as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Even his veteran quarterback Dan Marino could not save the day for the Dolphins. The linebacker Dexter Coakley had one of 5 interceptions in 1999, while quarterback Troy Aikman passed for 232 yards and a touchdown. Dallas recorded their only Thanksgiving Day shutout, 20-0. In 2006, quarterback Tony Romo's career was just getting started. In that game, Romo tied a franchise record with 5 touchdowns. Dallas won the game over Tampa Bay 38-10. It was the same year when Romo got to start the first 10 games of his career.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. This segment is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas.
The Cowboys first added the halftime show to Thanksgiving Day in 1997. That was 31 years after the team first started to play on the holiday. It was added at a time when then wide receiver Michael Irvin was in the news about making bad decisions off the field.
We decided that if people had as much interest in what our players did off the field as they did on the field, that maybe we could take that attention and that visibility and partner with an organization that was truly doing something significant. And if we could bring that attention to them, then maybe all of that, we could use it in a way that would really benefit the community.
That led Charlotte Jones Anderson to the Salvation Army, the largest service organization in the world. She thought halftime was perfect, but first they would need the network to give them free time. She met with Dick Ebersol, who at the time was the president of NBC Sports.
In his office on that day, he gave that chance, but he said, you know what? I'll give you the airtime, but you better make sure you have a show that's worthy of network television or I'll cut to commercial. So a little pressure and a little impetus to make sure you had the right entertainer, and off we went, and the rest is history 20 years later.
That very first show featured Reba McEntire during halftime of the Cowboys-Oilers game. It was the beginning of making the halftime show a tradition, just like the football game already was.
Originally, I went in there asking for just to talk about it, just to give a glimpse, maybe a minute, just show what was happening on the field. And sure enough, he actually gave the entire halftime, which was over 8 minutes of the show itself, plus several minutes talking about it beforehand, which turned into quite a significant gift, if you will, from the network. As a matter of fact, Dick Ebersol said, no one's ever walked into my office and asked me for airtime for free before. I'm like, well, it's always great to be the first ones. And he was committed to the idea. He certainly was committed to a big vision of creating a tradition like the Super Bowl has become with their halftime, and doing something that would create a legacy for many years to come.
The Salvation Army says those 21 years of exposure to a national audience on Thanksgiving Day has raised donations topping $2 billion.
It's amazing to me every year when we talk about the numbers of people that are sheltered, the number of kids that get Christmas, the number of people that receive meals. 64 million people will receive a meal this year from the Salvation Army, and knowing that you're a part of that and why some of that actually gets to happen, it's so rewarding, but at the same time it's pretty awesome. The fact that you can use the visibility and the interest that our game provides to so many people and then turn around and do something impactful like that, then I think it sure makes your day job worth it.
Artists like Eric Church, who performed during last year's show, are not paid a performance fee. Instead, they donate their time to help kick off the Red Kettle campaign. This will be the 127th year of that iconic fundraiser.
Yes, every artist that's ever played for us has always donated their time. And when you think about that, it's great that they have that visibility on Thanksgiving Day, but it's also they're moving away from their family on Thanksgiving. So oftentimes we bring their entire families in, and their grandmothers and their nieces and nephews to all come to watch the Cowboy game and watch them perform so they can enjoy their Thanksgiving too.
Going before probably the largest audience that is going to look at football other than the Super Bowl, doing it on such a great holiday, and basically saying, look over the Salvation Army, all of these 3.5 million volunteers, these great soldiers that work, that don't panic when they see an individual with no shoes or no means of support. They go right in there and go to work when a lot of people freeze. They don't need a big committee meeting to help people out.
For the Jones family, Thanksgiving Day has always been all about halftime shows and football. It's a tradition that has followed the family around for years.
When I was in high school, we played our biggest game during the day on Thanksgiving Day. And it always became a special day because of that. And that plus just the time and attention my mother gave to that wonderful day, and then later with my immediate family that I have now, Thanksgiving has always been special. But I'll tell you this right now, not any more special than these Cowboys playing on Thanksgiving Day.
Thanksgiving has always been synonymous with football. For our family, for me personally, for for years and years and years. And you know, it is my favorite holiday, and I think a lot of that is not only because we get to be around the game that we love, but all of our family comes in, has the same passion for the game, but the passion for being with each other and being able to do all of this together, which is what it's all about. And I think, you know, there's a lot of people that say, I can't believe you miss your turkey on Thanksgiving. Like, oh, we get our turkey, we just get it with 100,000 people.
This segment was brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world.
The Thanksgiving Day halftime show at AT&T Stadium in Arlington has become a staple for the holiday. Every year, it kicks off the Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign.
When you have a partnership with an organization like the Salvation Army, every experience, every time, every year has done nothing but make that organization grow, not only in my eyes, but also inspire me to do more.
This partnership with the Cowboys is something that we treasure. It's something that we're honored, and it's something that I hope will go on for at least another 21 years after this.
Let me tell Charlotte.
Yeah,
Charlotte?
I got it. We're
got it?
closing the roof.
Thank you.
It's going to take a couple minutes.
Producing the show and making it come off without a hitch is never an easy task.
We've been doing this for about 21 years, and it's amazing to me how time has flown. But you think you've got a formula going, but each year there's something about it that it's another hurdle or another step. But that's what sort of sparks that creative juice that you go, oh man, it's an opportunity that we can really take it to the next level.
What we're doing this year is we're dropping 90 lights out of the scoreboard, and then we also have some more LED blades coming out of it. So that's a little bit new of a setup that we're doing, and we have a lot of the lights doing some live moves during the show, so we put that new twist into it.
The process of finalizing the show takes place on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving Day. That's when Thomas Rhett, the Academy of Country Music's Male Vocalist of the Year, came to town.
This is incredible, man. I literally have watched this game since I was a little kid. I feel like everybody in my family grew up Cowboys fans, even if they weren't from Texas. And my wife's whole family's from Fort Worth, and they're all coming with us here to the game on Thanksgiving. So bringing basically Nashville here to Arlington, and just super excited, man. This is like such an iconic staple in my career.
I try to guess a little later, 30 minutes where we play that game.
Over the years, the Thanksgiving Day halftime show has grown in notoriety. The transition from a football field to a spectacular stage is also very similar to what takes place at the halftime show of the Super Bowl.
It's the coordination of all the elements. It's the coordination of the elements that we designed directly with the artist. Also, and you know, this is his show. This is Thomas's show. So we want him to feel comfortable on the stage. We want it to feel like his show, because that makes a better show for us. And then we just drop him in the middle of halftime and let him rock out, and you know, hopefully inspire everybody to be supportive of the Army.
6 months of preparation comes down to a few minutes of chaos, and it's the Salvation Army that benefits the most. Coming up, stay tuned for a quick look at this year's halftime guest, recording artist Thomas Rhett.
Happy Thanksgiving!
This segment was brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world.
How we doing up top up there? Get off for work, you and me down at our spot. We had a patio with a view of a parking lot. It was 2 for 1 and 4 for 2. Had Christmas lights in the middle of June. I hung up like I was on you. I said, hey, baby, do you want to come over? And you say no way, then you move in closer. Next thing I know, you were in my t-shirt. Right there, your hair messed up like a Guns N' Roses video. Oh, so high.
Special edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss another game. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass. If you missed any portion of the show, be sure to visit DallasCowboys.com/TV.